The following is a fan-based discussion. All materials discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, Saban Entertainment, and Subaru Productions.
Yes! We're finally here! My excitement is real! Oh, welcome everybody back to the Tokucast, episode 54.
We really need to stop keeping count of these.
We won't. Jyuken Sentai Gekiranger. Oh, my excitement is real. I've been waiting for so long to get to this show.
You can tell by the Geki Ranger shirt he's wearing.
This is a Cocky Ranger shirt, sir?
I know, that's the joke.
But yeah.
You love the show so much, but you have no merch for it.
I really don't. That's because I'm lazy and just want to buy it. But
Fair enough. But this show is very, very good.
Here we are. Going into this, we will say this is the lowest selling Sentai over the past 12 years. Sadly. However, on the other side of that, it has an extremely good story and characters.
How did the Go Busters sell better than these? The toys in Go Busters were awful.
Well, we'll see what Hasbro does with them next year, since they own the entire property now. That'll be a thing later. But, most other people are actually doing stuff on that now. And Squall Charlson, I keep mispronouncing your last name, sorry, did a thing where he just this is what I want from it. He basically just laid out an entire story. He storyboarded the premise of the whole thing. And I liked it fine enough. So we'll see exactly what happens with when we actually get to the show come 2019. But yes, here we are with Jyuken Sentai Gekiranger. Hype is real, hype is infinite. Let's go ahead and get into
Infinity War.
Oh, I don't feel so good. But yes,
I can't wait to see the comments on that. I don't want to go.
The doctor. Let's go ahead and get into what we're usually doing. That opening.
Great opening.
It's so hype. It feels weirdly enough, because when I was, I marathoned the hell out of the show. But it felt like it went on for longer than most other ones. Because most of the ones go on for a minute and a half. This felt like 2. And I'm sitting here wow, just going through this. But yes, let's go ahead and get into this show. Each episode is called Lesson, because
they're Kung Fu students.
There's training in X, thanks to Master Shafu. And the titles are always a thing that John says. We'll talk about that come the Jungle Fury in comparison, which we will be filming right after this.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah. Every episode has a title because our main
Because all episodes have titles.
Has a thing where he says an onomatopoeia or something.
Mm-hmm.
Niki Niki,
Zawa
Zawa, Waki Waki.
Shooty, him in the facey.
Shuba Shuba. But yeah, it's a title of his onomatopoeia, and then something comes after it. So the first one is Niki Niki, Fierce Beast Fist.
He came real close to the FCC somehow coming from America to censor his ass in Japan.
It's true. But yeah, this show starts off pretty well. The first 10 episodes of this were really good.
It is a slow start.
The first 10 episodes are really...
Especially when you got to deal with Red.
He's the most annoying in the first part of the show.
But then he does take a chill pill or something.
Yeah. Because in the first episode, we end up getting to meet Miki, because John was raised in the forest by pandas.
You mean Miki?
No. John was raised in the forest by pandas, which are really just guys in suits and CGI, and it's all really hilarious and sad. But I still like it. I think it's funny, I think it's humorous, and, it's just funny to see him falling out of a tree on top of a panda. And then Miki has a crash landing, and we end up getting to meet our mooks for this season, the Renshi, along with the Rinjuden. Yes, they are Chinese vampires?
Yes.
That's what they're based off of?
Chinese vampires that only do this.
Except for 1 or 2 later on. But if you ever end up playing Darkstalkers, that one vampire lady is this. She's also a great character. But yeah, we end up getting to meet Miki, who fights off all of the actual Renshi. This show, and we had to end up making comparisons to Die Ranger and Mask Man to a lesser extent.
Because they're all martial arts based.
Yes. I much prefer Mask Man and Die Ranger in those cases because there's a lot more out of suit fighting in those shows.
I'll give you that. But once they're once they do the in-suit fighting, I got there eventually.
Yeah.
It is some great fight choreography.
There really are. It's just, out of the 3, definitely going to put Die Ranger at the top. So it's just because of the fact that The actors knew martial arts.
But out of the three, when we're talking about endings, Gekiranger is the top because...
Sure.
Yeah.
It
Moving on.
Doesn't end with 2.
Or old people.
But yeah, Miki ends up meeting John, who she ends up bringing back after she fights off the Rinshi and the Rinrinshi. And they're all based on animals. That's what all the powers are based on.
Harness your animal spirit.
Basically, Miki has the leopard fist. The first Rin Rinshi that they end up fighting is the mantis fist user. John turns out to be a tiger fist one at a little bit. And they end up going back to Scratch. That is the name of the company. I'm not kidding.
It's an acronym, isn't it?
It is an acronym for something that I don't feel like looking up right now.
It's still stupid.
SCRTC. Scratch. Hilarious.
Moving on.
But yeah. We end up also, after they end up going back, we end up getting to meet Master Shafu, who is a big cat. So whenever John sees him, he's like, Neko! And we end up getting to meet Ran and Ratsu. More on them later, because they really don't do a lot with them in the show. That's no problem of the characters, no problem of the actors.
Problem of the writing.
Speaking of which, out of this show, 3 out of the 5 main actors are retired.
Oh.
Yeah. As of this year. But then we also end up getting to see the suits.
These suits are very different than what we're used to seeing in Sentai's past. Very Bruce Lee-esque.
They're tracksuits. So Bruce Lee-esque, yeah, because Scratch made them. So it makes sense, because they're like a sporting goods company.
Yeah, they're a sporting goods company. Then you have a kind of different in shape of the helmet for each of them, but the main difference between the 3 of them are the stripe patterns. You get a very generic stripe pattern for red. You get more of a circular pattern for yellow because she's a cheetah, and that makes sense. Kind of a square-ish pattern for blue, and he's a jaguar. But the helmets are more or less so similar that it's hard to tell them apart.
I mean, there are, of course, some differences between the 3.
They're minute differences.
My personal favorite out of these 3 is actually blues, because it works really well with that black.
I will give you that. I do like reds, though.
Yeah, I love reds and yellows.
The best part, I think, about the aesthetic of these is that they, just like with Sentai's past, they each get their own individual weapons. However, nobody has a bladed weapon in this show until Rhino.
Yeah. Before we get to that, because that happens in episode 2, and we end up getting to see the Rinrinshi grow, and then Master Shafu has to fight it off. But all the masters in this show have a code of nonviolence, so basically it's just Shafu like defending himself and then pushing the Rinrinshi away. Because in episode 1...
No, because he a badass.
In episode 1, though, we don't get to see the giant mech right away. I know.
Blasphemy.
So long. Actually, can't really say that, because Lupet didn't really have that for a little bit, too.
They're blasphemous, too. Heretics!
Heresy!
What?
Heresy. But let's talk about the morphers. It works so much in this show. They're basic gloves. They go like this, hit the thing, the knuckles crack, and the suit comes on.
It definitely works.
They're not the best,
no,
but
aesthetically speaking, it matches so well.
Yeah.
Because they are literally paws, and they are from scratch, and they're all cat-based. So it just, aesthetically speaking, it just works really, really well.
Yeah, it works just so much better. Of course, will be a moment of contention once we get to the comparison. But in episode 2, as you mentioned, they do have individual weapons.
I think this is honestly some of my favorite individual weapons in a Sentai, because no other Sentai has had some weapons like this since.
Yeah. Blue and yellows are interchangeable because
yellows
are just a combination of blues.
Blue gets Tonfa,
which is so
great. Yellow gets a bow staff, which we've never seen like that. But even better,
well, the Die Rangers.
Yeah, but it was a bladed there was a circular blade.
They could put something on the end.
Oh, okay.
They didn't have to. There was a bow staff.
That's right. But everybody had one as opposed to this is mine.
Yeah. And redhead nunchucks.
Which is super Bruce Lee and super out of the ordinary.
Speaking of which, all the masters in this show are actually named after martial arts people in real life. Let me double check.
Is there a Master Lee?
Master E, actually.
Yeah. That's
a thing.
What about Chan?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. Jackie. I did not know he was named after Jackie Chan. You never told me that.
Sharky Chan. Jackie Chan.
I did not remember his name.
Sharky.
What did I roll it back? What did I say 7 seconds ago?
Anyway, before we actually get to that. Because
did not remember his name, asshole.
The first 10 episodes are basically just one being introduced to the Rinjuden, Rio and Melee being their heads over there. Melee was just basically a Rinrinshi who was brought back to life by Rio. She also has
Chameleon.
Something that happens later on is like the thing that ends up happening to Violet happened to the fly that she ate.
Oh, yeah.
She was fighting another Geki Jyuken user from the Geki Rin rebellion that happened like a couple hundred years ago. And even though the masters, all the other masters are there, they don't age. Thanks to the Geki that they used.
Geki.
Yeah. I really just enjoy the first 10 episodes, but they're really slow. But let's go ahead and talk about Geki Toja. I like this one. A lot of red, though. A
lot of red, which because yellow and blue are just the legs. But in terms of aesthetic, it is, it's different, and it's completely CGI for most, like for the transformation sequence, of course, and a lot of the combat. But the fact that it also, once again, we do not have a mech where its finisher is a sword attack or something stupid. It has a 3-section staff.
Which it doesn't use a lot.
It doesn't. Or it becomes a Beyblade.
Which is its main finisher.
Geki. Let it rip.
I like it enough, but yeah, it's just like red is the main part of it.
But that's something you're going to have to get used to with pretty much every mech that they introduce in this show. Except for Rhino.
Very true. But going on, like I said, the first couple episodes just them meeting Rio and Melee and the 5 Venoms. And the thing that Mickey got taken from her at the beginning were 3 bracelets. I really like how this show ends up setting up itself. It's like from the beginning, it sets up the 3 bracelets, what they mean, and the 5 Venoms basically.
A lot of the term is Chekhov's gun is used in this show.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know what that is, it is a playwright who the term says when you see one of his plays and there's a gun hanging on the wall, by Act 3 that gun will be used. Nothing is ever just a set piece.
Yeah.
So we see these 3 bracelets. Those 3 bracelets are going to be a thing.
And those 3 bracelets, basically, they can be used. They house the souls of like high members of the Rinjuden school. They were all from the Juden school. Then there was that rebellion that happened, and that's how we ended up having Gekijyuken and Rinjuden. And I really like how they end up breaking that up. I
cannot wait to compare these to Jungle Fury.
It's very like Wuxia-esque.
Yeah.
Like in style of like how a lot of the Wuxia films from China are told. And speaking of which, this movie, like the solo movie that they ended up having for this show, that happened with the Deno I Am Born movie, which is awful. But that movie took place in Hong Kong. So they actually went there to have that happen. Like, They didn't stay in Japan. They actually had a budget. So it was great.
Budget?
But, yeah, over the first couple of episodes, they end up beating, a couple of random Rinshi, and Rinrinshi, and then the 5 Venoms. And one of the 5 Venoms has a special ability that can, like, bring something back to life, which Rio is looking for. Mm-hmm. And I love how they really set that up. It's like, that happens, he's looking for it. He has the bracelets, which house the souls of the 3
grandmasters.
Basically, yeah. That's what they are. They're basically grandmasters. And he has to find out exactly which one of the Rinrinshi that are part of the 5 Venomkins has that ability. Of course, it's the very last one they end up fighting. But really quick, episode 8, we end up getting to see... Well, actually, this happens a couple episodes ago. That Mickey has a daughter who's terrible. I'm glad she doesn't end up showing up that much. And this is also the episode that we end up getting to see the Geki Bazooka.
Oh, yeah.
I do not like it.
No.
I don't like it at all. I didn't like it when they did it in Die Ranger either, when they just introduced the bazooka. And this is a martial arts themed show.
I don't like it just because it's so simple looking.
Yeah, it's red on the top, yellow in the middle, blue on the bottom, and it's shaped like a giant cat.
Bazooka.
Yeah.
It's really like, put your chi into it, blah, blah, blah. No. If this is a martial arts themed Sentai, your finisher should be martial arts themed.
Yeah. I just don't like it. The only thing I like from episode 8 is the fact that they do like pork cube stew, which looks amazing.
Marcus and his food.
It looks good. I like pork. So, In episode 9, we end up getting to see exactly which one of the 5 Venoms has that ability. Rocco is his name. Melee is actually the one who kills him.
Don't fuck with Melee.
Melee, her whole thing is being a love warrior for Rio. That's her whole thing. And we also end up getting to see...
Which gets irritating real fast.
I actually don't mind it. Because it's a lot of her character, yes, but it's so far in the background later on.
Every time she gives that goddamn speech.
Laboria.
Rio-sama. Rio-sama, Rio-sama, Rio-sama. Shut the fuck up about Rio-sama.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about their outfits. Because for the people who are watching Gokaiger, you know they're extra rangers. I like both of them.
Okay, we're talking about like their actual...
Rio and Melee's, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we're not too much human form.
Yeah.
I do like both of them.
Yeah, I like...
Again, we're back to... in regards to Melee, we're back to something that's not ever used. She has size as her weapon.
Yeah.
Which is really cool, because you don't ever see those. And...
I just like it, because her suit is really intricate.
Mm-hmm.
And I love
especially when she gets the Phoenix form later on.
We'll talk about that, and that's something we're going to bring it up a little bit more in Jungle Fury, because they did some Jungle Fury that I wish they did for her there.
Fair enough.
Which didn't happen.
And then Rio,
I love the black.
Yeah, I love the black. I love the gold. I love the just clean slate.
Yeah. It's very Kyoryuger-esque.
It's very Kyoryuger-esque, but it's also...
Well, I guess Kyoryuger. That is.
It's very just... he has no face because it's pure darkness.
In the main,
it's all a metaphor. But I also love the part that he doesn't really get a weapon.
He doesn't at all.
No, he just beats shit.
Yeah, he just beats you.
I don't need a weapon. Here's my weapon.
My fist.
Weapon B, and they both gonna kill you.
Yeah, and I just love just all that build up, and then I love how Shafu he feels that there's something wrong in the Force. May the Fourth be with you, as that was yesterday as of recording. But I love the fact that once they end up getting Bracco's, his nails are the things that house the ability to bring people back to life. Then Melee ends up breaking those off, kills him, and gives those to Rio, because once again, that's her whole thing. But,
she wanted the credit.
Yeah, but once Shafu ends up feeling that something is wrong, like if he feels it literally in the Force. I'm not kidding about that. But episode
very much like Torian and Kyuranger, where his mustache just kind of blows in the wind. Monster. Or there was a breeze. No. Monster.
10 through 16, we end up getting introduced to the other masters. First one we end up getting to meet is Master Elahun Kampo, who is actually his name is based on I am so terrible. Oh, Sammo Kambo. If you ever saw that movie, it's one of Donnie Yen's movies where he fights that guy in that alley with a knife.
Oh yeah.
He's
which, if I recall from what I heard, that entire scene was almost like 90% ad-libbed in terms of choreography.
Yeah.
Which makes it that much scarier.
Yeah. And his, Elahun's voice actor is actually the dubber of Sammo Hung for his movies.
Oh, cool.
So
I really need to watch more Donnie Yen movies.
They're all great. He's going to be in this live-action Mulan.
Especially Itmon. Good.
Bad. Because they got rid of, Shang.
Who?
The guy who was like the commander, who's saying, "I'll make a man out of you." One of my favorite songs from that movie, by the way.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's everybody's favorite song. That movie number 1.
That's true. It's so good.
Anyway.
Go watch Mulan if you have it. But yeah, they got rid of him.
If you haven't watched Mulan, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
If you are over the age of 18, what the fuck's wrong with you?
But yeah, Master Elahun, he is a pervert. I don't. Like, if they try to make his character now...
I hate that character type, that archetype. I hate it.
I hate it too, and he just is such a pervert. But he ends up giving Ron the ability to use the Ella Hammer.
And mace, or ball and chain?
More or less.
Is it really called the Ella Hammer?
Yes, it is.
What the fuck? I don't know why I said. What the fuck is wrong with Toku and not knowing what the goddamn weapons are?
What the Guy Fox is ready with you.
I'm looking at you, Gaim. Look at you. This is bullshit. Gaim, Hurricaneger, Gekiranger. You need to learn what the fuck a hammer is. Because it's sorry.
But episode 11, when she actually gets that, and the armament that goes on to Gekitoja.
This is actually one of the few Sentais where I thought the armaments worked really well.
They worked fine.
Because there was always a story behind it.
Yeah.
Unlike with Gauranger, they just kind of got it. For
Yeah, they
bullshit,
really did.
For bullshit reasons. These Gekirangers, they worked for their fucking armaments, you motherfuckers.
I mean, Hurricane Ranger, they had to make them. Aber Ranger, they had to go out and actually find them.
Yeah, I'm mainly comparing to, like...
yeah, but Guy Ranger's the big one.
Guy Ranger is like oh look, an elephant. Let's use it.
But yeah,
That's
in episode 11, the first of the Renjuden Grandmasters end up being brought back. Sky Demon Fist Kata.
And he is the shit of nightmares.
He basically, you're not wrong, because the first thing that he does when he starts training Rio is put him into a nightmare. And then
I did not mean to pun like that. I apologize.
And then Rio beats him after he gets him out of his nightmare. Episodes 12 and 13, we end up getting to meet Bat Lee, who's based off of who?
Jet Li.
There you go. But yeah, he's also like...
Is it Jet Li or Bruce Lee?
Jet Li.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring up Bruce Lee in a second.
Fair enough.
But yeah, Bat Lee ends up training Retsu.
With fans.
Yeah, I love the Geki fans, by the way. I love the way that he used them for fights.
I love the Geki fans though I was skeptical about them at first. Though I do have to remember that fans are actually a weapon in martial arts.
Yeah.
But the fact that they are bladed at the end does help.
It's like he could block, he could swerve people out of
And
the
I
way.
hope you like wires. Because you're going to get a fucking lot of them.
But I love like the actual on the ground fights with the fans. Because
True.
It's so intricate. Like a lot of my favorite fights in this show come from him using those fans. They're just cool. So I just really enjoyed them.
Then he gets the bat armament, which I thought was very well incorporated with the fans.
Yeah.
Like, I was very, skeptical about how they're going to incorporate fans onto a Megazord. This is good.
Yeah, it was a really, really good one.
Also, fly.
Fly. Episode 15, we end up getting introduced to the second of the Renjiden Grandmasters, Sea Demon Fist Ragaku, who is like
Who looks like the villain of Little Mermaid got away and came here.
And lost a lot of weight.
Yeah. Oh, and also became a jellyfish as opposed to an octopus.
And not a drag queen. That's who Ursula was based
Oh,
off of.
yeah, I did forget that.
But
not as interesting anymore, is she?
Nope. But I like Ragaku. Ragaku is fun.
Yeah.
Her whole thing is based on jealousy. Well, I'm not going to say fun because she is a villain, but she...
Would you say she is a jealous she-fish?
I'll give you points for that one. That was good. But yeah, Ragaku ends up coming back, but she said
There's going to be some comment.
Yeah,
Boom.
she said that she won't train Rio. She'll train Melee instead.
Which I thought was really good.
Yeah. And I like her because like she's really
Is it
manipulative.
sexist or is she just playing hard to get?
A little bit of both. Maybe. But I like her, and she actually used to date Shafu. And then Shafu was like, I want to get away from you. You
like,
crazy.
He's like, peace out, bitches. Fly.
It's like, she's like, you ran away from me. I was like, I ran to get the hell away from you. And then you tried to kill me. She was like, it's semantics.
Good times.
Yeah, her whole thing is jealousy, as I said, and she can literally move like water. She can turn her body into water, and that's like her biggest defense. And I love the first thing that she actually has happen is have Melee fight Shafu to prove her actual worth and to show the Kata that she's actually, worth training.
Yeah.
And I like, this show focuses a lot on the villains.
What about the movie?
That too, actually. But it's a good thing that they do focus on the villains. And this is another Toku talk that we're going to have in the future.
Villains who actually get character?
That. And also human villains. Yeah. Because it's very different having a human villain than just somebody in a suit. We got, the last time we really saw that, I guess it would be with Z, and now with Lupat, the ice guy.
Though, while we're talking about human villains, can we talk about the S&M outfit that Rio wears when he's not?
He is just ready.
He is ready for Mr. Grey.
He is ready at all times.
Mr. Grey, Mr. Black.
And we're going to go ahead and move on to 16 because Shafu...
Look at that side boob.
That side boob. You like this side boob? Well, you shouldn't because it's my side boob.
Good night, everybody.
All right, episode 17. Well, lesson 17. This is where we end up getting to meet Mr. Sharky himself. Sharky Chan. Based on who?
Sharky Chan.
I hate you. Jackie Chan. because that one was obvious. But yeah, he's the youngest out of the Masters, and that shows.
Couldn't tell.
But he gets on really well with John, and that's why.
I wonder why.
But I love how the Rinrenchi that is sent out to fight them, basically ends up taking over his mind for a little bit, and then ends up taking over the Shark Mech's mind. And then, of course, the next episode, he ends up getting beaten. And we end up getting to see the Shark Mech, which I like the fact that it's light blue.
Yeah.
It looks good as a light blue thing.
It does look good as a light blue, and I like the incorporation, though. The fact that you can kind of see the shark's mouth when it's a helmet is a bit off-putting. But, you can't beat it, so...
Now, in episode 19, we actually end up getting to see the Jyuken users fighting Rio. And Rio walks through them. he's the main guy for a reason. He's not just going to sit there and be inactive. But
he's not going to,
and have a headache.
He's not a bitch.
He's going to go out.
He went there later.
Because it's going to come up later. But he actually goes out and fights them and beats the shit out of them. And then they end up having this whole thing with Kageki, which is like a higher level of Geki just as itself, as an energy source. Mm-hmm. And that's it sets up the arc, them getting beaten by Rio, and John showing off a little bit of the Kageki at the end, and then Shafu convinces Rio to leave because if he wants to have a real fight, he should fight them after they obtain Kageki. So we end up getting to meet 3 other Masters. Let me go ahead and get this up because it is Master Gory Yin, Master Michelle Peng, and Master Pion Bao. And
Master Pion Bao is the greatest master to ever walk this earth.
Yes, and guess who Gory Yin is based off of? Look at his last name.
Donnie Yin?
Yes. And Michelle Peng is based on Michelle Yeoh, who I love. She's
not familiar with her.
She was in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She was the older one.
Oh! Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's great. And Master Pion Bao, he's the only one I don't know.
Which is unfortunate.
It's Yin Bao?
Because he's, he's like the favorite master that we have.
Yeah.
Because how do I explain this? What some of these people do in their off time is interesting. Doesn't the elephant just kind of, stay in his log cabin?
No, he makes stuff. The Jyuken users.
And while Master
Blacker, Batley, I think he's just like a performer. Sharky, I don't know what he does. Gorien he's a writer. Michelle Peng
is a pop star or some shit?
No, I see where you're coming from, but she's actually the head of basically the Swedish branch of Scratch.
Oh, right.
And then Master Pion Bao
hunts poachers.
Yeah, these are things that he does. And I love how they end up having this thing where they end up having to go against the 3 masters. And they basically... But
not in the way that, they're not in a straight-up fight, unless you're blue.
Well, no, it's because it's basically what Elehan, Batley, and Sharky Chan just basically built on the things that they already had. So, the unbreakable body, fantastic technique, honest heart, they built on that. That was the purpose of the first 3 masters.
These 3 masters have to either give them something new, or strengthen an area that they are currently weak at.
Because, let's see, the first one is Gorien. He's Raging Heart. And basically, John loses that. He doesn't have the patience to do that. But they only have to beat,
he has to stack coins.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I mean, in his defense, nah, fuck that.
Not for him. Michelle Peng is Supreme Technique. She ends up mentoring Ron. And that's, the place that Ron has the least. Mm-hmm. But they end up drawing on theirs. And then Master Pion Bao, Undying Body.
Him and Blue fight each other for about 12 hours straight.
To get a band off of each other's arm.
For 12 hours straight.
Yeah.
No breaks. They started in day. It's pitch black night when they're done. Jesus Christ.
And it's great. It's one of my, this arc is great. It's really... really good. And they end up getting the Kageki at the end, and then we end up getting the Super Geki.
Which is some of the coolest...
I love the white.
Goddamn super forms in Sentai, which I'm pretty sure it made our top 10 Sentai. Yeah. Because they trade in the black for... They trade in, they get a new color of white. Their stripes are replaced with jets. They get a giant claw weapon and a lot more white accent on the mask. It is the slickest, coolest thing that can make them look more powerful in an ultimate form without being too bulky. I'm looking at you, fucking Ghost Agent.
And then they end up fighting Rio again. Rio gets destroyed at this point.
Because I can fly with jets.
Yeah, he ends up getting punched into a wall. Blue just destroys him for a little bit, along with the other two beetle robots they were fighting with.
The Hercules Beetle twins, whatever.
Yeah, I just love how they end up doing this one. Only reason I'm going to mention episode 22 is because they had to bring back the last of the Rinjuden Grandmasters, Maku, but they took an organ out of him.
They didn't change his name from Sentai to Power Rangers, did they?
Yeah, they did. His name is Grisaka.
Oh god, I thought the name Master Maku sounded familiar in an English voice.
He has a living organ, and his body was actually located at the bottom of the Rinjuden Temple. And it was chained up, but he has a living organ that they couldn't get. This celebrity has.
He's also scary.
They end up having to steal it from the celebrity. They get it back. Speaking of which, just before we even get into Maku coming back, the other masters come back a lot.
Yeah.
They do, and I love that.
It's not a one-off thing of, alright, bye. No, they come back all the freaking time.
It's Gorian's just there. He ends up having a few comedic moments. We don't get to see Pyeong Bao as much, but that's because he's off hunting bojers.
That's a fucking sentence.
Comes back. Elehung has
new shit he built.
They met him randomly at a hot spring.
I would also like to point out that these masters go out in public.
No one reacts.
No one reacts to the fact that a giant animal is walking and talking.
Power Rangers. Super Sentai.
There you go.
Either way, really. Let's see. Sharky Chan just comes back because he likes to hang out with John.
Yeah.
They hang out.
Shakeen.
Michelle Ping, she comes back the most. We see her a lot. It's her and Gorian we see a lot.
Yeah, she also comes back a lot when Maki's brother gets introduced, if I recall.
Speaking of which, that actually happens here because Mako ends up... You mean Brexit.
Sorry.
Mako ends up... They end up getting a living organ. They bring him back. He has a power called Dorinki, which can...
Make a fucking black hole behind him or something.
Basically. And they can sort of... it's sort of on the same power level as Kageki, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
And so that becomes Rio's whole thing because he wants to be super powerful. And at the end of this episode, we end up getting to see this random guy in the forest. We end up getting to see this random guy in the forest, which Rio has mentioned that he fought a guy in the past, fought a couple people in the past, when he left the Jyuken Temple because he was originally under Master Shafu. But they end up mentioning that Retsu has a brother quite a bit before this. And then we end up getting to see this mystery character who ends up having this thing where he's like, Machiku. He always ends up hitting his forehead.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Now...
That's his thing.
Episode 23, we end up getting to see that this guy's name is Go Fukami. This is also a random episode when Ron, after she ends up becoming the captain of the Gekiranger, she ends up turning to a bad girl for a little bit. And Go has this thing where he ends up having to turn into a werewolf. And there's an actual reason for that in this one, because he tried to do the same technique that the Masters did, that turned them into their animal forms, but his got corrupted, and he couldn't fully complete it. This is also what happened to the Fly by that Melee swallowed. But yeah, I like the fact that they actually set this up no, this is a technique. You just couldn't do it correctly. And we also end up getting to meet this guy who stalks Melee for a little bit. His name is Long. We will talk more about Long in a little bit.
Favorite character of Marcus's.
He's great. The next couple episodes, just, the introduction of Go, him coming back to Retsu. We end up getting to see how Retsu was as a kid, where he was a punk bitch. And, but in episode 25, we end up getting our first violet, or rather purple, Ranger in all of Super Sentai. Well, yeah, the first one, the very first one. Geki Violet. And I will tell you that I love this suit.
It's a very nice suit.
One, purple's a great color.
Yes. Underused.
Underused. Very underused. We've only gotten, 2 other Rangers since then that end up having this with Curie Violetto and Ryu Commander.
Yep.
And both just look so good. But
second, he uses Muay Thai.
It's Shigeki, so it's based in that. It's a different form of Geki, which I sort of wish that they introduced him before they got Kageki.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with the way they did it here.
And for anybody who isn't really familiar with different styles of martial arts, Muay Thai is a style that mainly focuses with striking with your elbows and your knees.
Yeah.
And it's also very fucking deadly.
Yeah.
There's a reason why most MMAs I don't think are allowed to use Muay Thai.
He beat the shit out of Melee the first time. Yeah,
It's also, and for those Power Ranger fans, I'm pretty sure Jason David Frank has Muay Thai tattooed on his knuckles.
I'm pretty sure he does.
He has each letter, Muay Thai. So, yeah, he knows Muay Thai. Fuck.
And I just love him coming in. It's great.
He's the weirdest morpher, though.
Yeah.
It's a bell, because Muay Thai is ring fighting. Maybe.
Yeah.
So it's literally a wrestling ding bell. The round's over.
Also, with him, we end up getting to see Geki Toja Wolf, which I actually like a little bit more than the regular one. It takes away Yellow's leg and replaces it with the wolf. And he can also make copies himself thanks to his Shigeki. He can make copies of Tiger and Jaguar, so he doesn't need Retsu and John to use theirs.
And even by himself, the Wolf Zord can take his own tail, put it in his mouth, and use it as a blade.
Yeah, that's his finisher.
That's his finisher. And so the blade gets bent down the leg, so the Zord is using Muay Thai because it's mainly using kicks and shins.
I just love the fact that we end up getting something like this. And the fact that he can make his own copies just makes it that much cooler.
We didn't talk about the gorilla, penguin, and antelope Zords. The mech.
Oh yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about fire.
Let's talk about how much red there is.
There's a lot of red in fire.
Let's talk about how the fact that we have a penguin Zord and the fact that the penguin is too small to do anything with. We had to give it a fucking hoverboard.
Well, don't you remember what they did in Gekiranger with the armadillo? They paired it with Rhino.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the thing. But I quite like fire. Geki Fire is a pretty good one. It's a giant gorilla.
A penguin on a surfboard with headphones.
And an antelope? No, Geki Gazelle.
Gazelle. Okay. Yeah, Geki Gazelle. So, honestly, it's a really cool mech. I don't know if it's my favorite mech in this show.
Which is why we do have to make another list. We really, really had to make another top 10 mech list because there are just so many.
And that we forgot, and because we're awful people.
And the fact that I will have to do this eventually. You know what? I'm just going to make multiple lists. It's just going to be different lists. I'm not going to fucking do this again. But yeah, I do like Geki Fire. It's a pretty great one.
Here's the Tokucast top 10 mechs this week.
This week. Next week, come see more.
Next week, come see a completely different list that we reorganized because we thought, oh fuck, we forgot this one.
Yeah. But in episode 27, we end up getting by his past and the fact that he ends up connecting with Go quite a bit, which actually shows something towards the end of this show. I like the fact that they sort of have a connection because Biden was just sort of there being sort of annoying as the announcer for the fights.
Yeah.
But the fact that they actually gave him a backstory, which really ends up doing something for him.
He's not a bad guy.
Yeah, he's not. He was originally a Geki user, and he died when Melee died, and then she got brought back as basically one of the
And he was still in her stomach, so...
Yeah, he got brought back too.
Transitive property.
At the end of episode 27, we end up getting to meet another Jyuken warrior. I feel like they introduced these two too close to each other, which is why I rather had Go show up prior to Kageki.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just like Go didn't really get a lot to do by himself, just yet, at least. But in episode 28, we do end up getting to meet Ken Hisatsu. He's also from LA, his actor is. And he was also in Ghost as a Jabel, whomever. The one who lost to Boost. And this also begins a storyline of the Virtuous Beast Sword. We're not going to talk about the movie, by the way. At least not this one. We will end up talking about the team-up in a little bit.
We also will not be talking about the Christmas special.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. That's fucking awful. And this is one of those cases like episode 29, because episode 20 we really get to meet Ken. And actually, at the end of that episode, we do end up getting... Oh yeah, let's go ahead and talk about Geki Chopper, because we do get to see his suit in this one.
This suit is amazing.
I love the sash around the middle. I love the helmet. It's
I love
different.
the helmet. I love the sash. I love the goddamn the shoulder pads that he gets. Orange and white and black. 3 colors you wouldn't think would go well together.
But they go to...
Good God.
Because they use the black and the orange as accent colors for the white, it just makes it that much better.
The only problem I have with it is the goddamn weapon.
The Morpher.
It's too
yes.
big. It's too bulky. It's dumb.
It looks a lot better when they put it out as an actual blade, but when it's just like the side fingers, I hate it. I do not like looking at it. But Ken was at like the Geki Holy Ground, where the original master, Bruce E.
Shut up.
Bruce Lee. That's where the masters like Elahun, Master Shafu, they were all taught there by Bruce E. And I like the fact that he was actually there. He's just really, really lazy. Extremely so, actually. But apparently his and Master Bruce E's, like, their Geki was very, very, like, compatible. Apparently Ken has the same type of Geki that Master Bruce E did. And I like the fact that we end up getting him here because he was supposed to hold, like, the Virtuous Beast Sword, which he sold. And the way that
times are tough. You gotta pay rent. You gotta get food.
And he ends up bringing Retsu to try and get it back because he wants Retsu to pay the 10,000 yen that he sold it for. And she was like, "Wait a minute! The person that he sold it to was apparently like some past lover or something of Bat Lee's." So that ends up bringing this whole thing full circle. Bat Lee out. Once again, I love the fact that the masters are actually involved in the storylines because it gives us little things like this. I thought this one was funny. There's like this random panda that's just there for no reason, and every time Retsu sees, he's like panda. It's funny. I love little things like that, and they end up getting the Virtuous Beast Sword back after Ken causes Bat Lee and the owner of the shop to speak again.
Yeah.
It's just a fun little side story.
Love connections.
Yeah. And they end up getting the sword back, and that once they get the sword back, it sets up the fact that they had to go to the Beast Origin Village. And there's this weird little scene between Melee and Long, because, her whole thing is protecting Rio, and she thinks that Long can help her, but she's not 100% sure of his motivations. And there's like this really good scene, I'll actually post a screenshot from the episode here. There's a scene where like they're in this place of mirrors, and there's like all these shots that are happening. It's all a really gorgeously shot scene. It's just them walking back and forth through mirrors and everything like that. It shows how Melee is versus her talking to Long, who is a conniving bastard.
Mark is his favorite type of person.
He's great. And I love how they don't really end up accepting Ken into the team right away because it's just like, you're lazy. I can't believe you sold the thing. What the hell's wrong with you? Get out. And Jan's like, okay, look. Yes, but.
Those are all true.
Yeah, it's all so good to end up having something sort of like that. Ken ends up coming in as sort of a happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah.
But the others are, a lot more serious. And I love the whole thing where they're actually going to the Beast Origin Village is amazing.
Yep.
Them going to that giant tree, which was apparently near John's forest, original one that Mickey found him at the very beginning of the show. Mickey. Melee ends up getting the actual sword. By this point, Rio has mastered Dorinki after they bring Maku back, because Maku basically just took over the Renjuden after he said that Rio just wasn't strong enough and not worth it. So he ends up bringing that back. I love the scene of the way that Melee ends up getting the Virtuous, like the small sword that Ken had. She ends up kidnapping his sister and like puts him on hostage and puts her on hostage. They end up having a fight. They end up having a fight originally. And then she lost, she leaves, then Long tells her to capture his sister, and Melee's like, I don't feel right about doing this. And then she ends up getting convinced because Long convinced her, like, this is all for Rio-sama. Wouldn't you do anything for Rio-sama? And so she's like, fine, I guess.
He's the Loki of the goddamn Gekiranger.
He really is, but worse. And then he ends up coming, she ends up kidnapping his sister, they end up having a fight. She was actually going to let them both go. And then Long comes and like just starts corrupting her more and more. She cuts down the thing that his sister was held in. She falls. I love the look on Ken's face because he just looks so betrayed. And she ends up getting the sword, and like all of her sorrow and rage at herself from doing that ends up unlocking her own Doriki.
Mm-hmm.
I love this growth for Melee.
I love that she gets growth, period.
Yeah.
There are so many other shows that would have just cast her to the side as the sidekick.
Yeah.
And the fact that she gets so much character development, even though every time she opens her mouth and says Ryo-sama, I still want to stab her in the
There's
head.
a difference between her, fawning over Ryo-sama and then her being out on the field.
No, yeah, absolutely. The problem is whenever she's, not on the field, she's fawning over Ryo-sama.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I hate her as a character. I'm just saying that still irks me to no end.
Yeah. And the
amount of time she gives that goddamn speech where, the hand goes up and then the hand goes up, that has diminished quite, not 7 times an episode. Ryo-sama, 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 Ryo-sama. Goddamn.
But once we end up getting to the Beast Origin Village and Ryo and Melee end up getting in because they have the thing to get up there. Ryo was actually hiding this from Maku because, once again, Ryo's whole thing is to become stronger. And
better, faster, bigger, stronger.
And he's just like, I'm just going to go ahead, go to the Beast Origin Village and get the power that is housed there to make me stronger so I can beat Maku. So they all end up going to the Beast Origin Village. The Masters all end up coming along. The the Grandmasters do. The Gekirangers get there late after the Masters have already been beaten and turn into like a giant stone ball by Kata.
Excuse me.
And I love how we end up getting a lot more about the Renju, the rebellion that happened all those years ago, the fight between Kata Rakiku and Maku when they turned on Bruce Lee and they killed, Maku killed him. And then they all end up fighting and the 7 Masters end up putting the other 3 away. Like they sealed their souls away from their bodies because they couldn't kill them. And then the Masters end up having a vow of non-violence. And I love just how much we got of a backstory. This felt like such a legit Wuxia moment just from this whole scene. Them having, an actual backstory together. And then Ryo's like, once we end up surpassing them, it'll be our time for his and the Gekirangers, their Geki Rin Rebellion. It'll just be a completely different thing because we're going to end up being separate from our parents. From our masters. It'll end up being parents later on. But they end up going up into the tree. They end up fighting Ryo, Melee, and the Gekirangers, and Rakiku sends them back to the past for a random episode, and it ends up being funny because Ryo and Melee end up having to live together for a little bit until they can figure out how to get back. Rakiku also ends up sending back a monster, and we end up getting something that happened actually in the movie, Nene Ho-Oh, the one in Hong Kong. We end up getting that, Ryo and Melee have their own Geki Beasts.
Mm-hmm.
And we end up getting armaments for Geki Toja because
which is really cool.
Yeah,
and I really like Ryo's. Melee's is cool.
It's small,
but it's
a legit armament. They put it on the arm.
Yeah,
but it gives it armor. It makes it really bulky though. So I'm not the biggest fan.
But it mainly gives them shoulder armor and a sword.
Yeah,
or not a sword. And a chameleon for, I guess, Scorpion tactics from Mortal Kombat. Get over here!
That's basically what it was for.
Which, I still like it. I think it looks really cool.
I think it looks fine.
It does look bulky. It does make it look bulky. I will give you that. But I am okay with bulky in this case because function over fashion.
Yeah. Now, Ken ends up getting, after they end up coming back to the present after they were originally sent to the Edo period, Ken ends up getting the small katana back. He ends up waking up the Rhino that was there, Sai-Dain. Let's go ahead and talk about Sai-Dain.
I think, is honestly my favorite mech in this show.
I will agree with you. I love the white and blue and gold.
I love the white and blue and gold. I like how it's a Rhino that's a mech by himself, but his Rhino horn is a weapon because it's a giant fucking blade. And when he turns into warrior mode, it's a sword, and he gets a sword and shield. It's very traditional in terms of the mech, but I think after so much difference and so much of what Gekiranger is, it doesn't hurt to be traditional every now and then. And so being traditional every now and then isn't bad. And I really do hope I don't sound oxymoronic with how I sounded earlier. But it's honestly my favorite mech in this show. Just because it wrecks shit. And he can't drink water.
I can't. There's a hole on my lip. I do love how it's big in a good way because it's big all the way down. It doesn't have the same problem that I had with Ryo's mech being added on the Geki Toja. It's just the fact that since it's sort of symmetrical on both sides, and the fact that it's wide shouldered, it has really
big base legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just put it this way. You don't want to get cut by this. You don't want to get shoulder charged by this. You don't want to get headbutted by this. And you don't want to get anything sort of with the legs. Kicked.
And I love how the Rhino's head and its horn ends up becoming the sword on the other arm.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
It looks just cool. I love the shield. It has...
I love the transformation sequence. Because it just like stands up on his hind legs, all of a sudden just does this number. Bitch.
It's once it's finisher, it does like the symbol or the character for die, which is the character for great. So that's how it kills you. It kills you with a great slash. It just looks cool. And in this episode as well, it's the first of the demon grandmasters to go down. It's Kata. He ends up dying in this one. And then the next episode, Rio overpowers Maku because once Saidain came out, it like spread energy
everywhere, and everybody got a boost
except for Maku and Ragaku. And we're gonna talk more about Long in a second, but I love how the fact that the reason that they're giving behind that in the show is just like because basically the Rhino is Master Bruce E's soul.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they end up doing that is he approves of both schools. So that's why it gives energy to both schools.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they end up giving something like that.
Also, there's the metaphor of balance, where one side can never be too much more powerful than the other. The whole...
Ooh, that actually will end up coming up in a second now that you mentioned it.
Because you have to remember, with yin and yang, each side has a little bit of each other in it.
Yeah.
So, it's all about balance.
But,
I'm not talking about balance from Gekiranger.
Yeah. Maku and Ragaku end up going back to the Rinjin school.
Mm-hmm.
And Rio comes back and overpowers Maku.
Rio comes back and wrecks shit.
Yeah, he does. He catches Maku's fist, and Maku's like,
that is always a great moment. We're playing God of War right now, and that in the very beginning with Boulder.
Yeah.
That moment of, you done fucked up.
There's also a moment, I should have mentioned this earlier, where Long goes and actually speaks to Maku and the others, and they recognize him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, that form, when he actually ends up turning into his armored form.
Yeah.
They're like, why are you here? And then Maku tries to hit him, and Long's just like, no. I love it, though. It's so good. In the next episode, Maku ends up trying to go out and prove that he's the strongest by trying to beat the Gekirangers. He gets beaten. And Ragaku ends up coming out. And she's just like, I can't believe this has happened. Let me go and speak to Rio. And then she turns around and Long's there.
Mm-hmm.
And Long's like, you're useless. Your usefulness is no longer needed.
Your usefulness has reached its end.
And then he turns her just like straight to water. She can't come back. Like, she can just go turn straight water. He kills her. And I'm sitting here like, I forgot about this. This is how she died. That was just it was brutal. I wasn't expecting
Long is brutal.
Yeah, he was a brutal bastard. Something we haven't talked about in a while. The team-up movie. The team-up movie with Bo Kendra. I like this one a lot.
It's really only one of the good ones.
It really is. Because we end up going, well, first one of the moon, we end up seeing Boken Pink Sakura jumping around. She ends up going out, tries to find a precious. He finds one, but the thing comes up an error on the Excel starter.
Mm-hmm.
And then she ends up getting possessed by Pachacamac, who was based on like some ancient Aztec god.
Oh, yeah.
And then I love the scene. Yeah, I love the scene later on where Red was going to go out and actually try to stop him. But since she was possessed, Pachacamac just basically took a gun and pointed at her head like, if you try anything, I'll kill her.
Wow, Pachacamac a bitch.
Yeah. And because he has no real spiritual body. Later on, we end up finding out that this is actually the descendant of someone that Master Bruce Lee fought for 200 days back in the past.
Because that's how Bruce Lee works.
Yeah. But I love how...
Was it Buck Horus? Was that who he was fighting?
No.
That one wasn't as good, I apologize.
No, it wasn't. Now, Shizuka ends up stealing something from Scratch. They had like a red ball there. And Boken Black, Yellow, and Blue end up coming up, and they fight the Gekirangers. And here's the good thing about it.
Hold on. They stole what now?
Like a red ball. Red jewel.
They stole the kitty's ball.
No, shut up. But I love how
Isn't a ball of yarn?
No. There's an explicit difference in, like, training here. Because the Gekirangers actually beat the Bokengers.
Yep.
Which is something that you usually don't see. It's usually the other way around.
Because they have more experience. But but I'm sorry. Gekirangers know how to fight. Go fuck yourself.
And so in this one, they actually just lost. They just lost the entire time. If you get that meme, it's great. Shizuka ends up trying to get away, but Vulcan Silver ends up taking the jewel back. Satoru ends up coming in and actually takes it from him, and they're like, "What the hell, man?" And Shafu ends up reveals that the red jewel in his possession was one of the two that belonged to Pachana, the one from very long ago. Sakura ends up going after the one in the Rinjuden, and they bring down the really big mech that they had, the battleship from the end of Bokenger, and that just lands. And they're like, the fuck? And so they end up having this idiot.
Ours is bigger than yours.
Basically. They end up having this idiot hippopotamus Rinrinshi go up and try to fight it, and they think that they won, but they did not. And I love how, once again, we end up getting some out-of-suit fighting, because Sakura ends up in the blue ball.
Now there's a blue ball.
Yeah, there's a blue one. Not two. Shut up. Melee ends up coming in, but Rio ends up coming in as well. He sees Sakura and like beats her down really quick. And then Akashi comes in, and Akashi is actually pretty on even par with Rio.
Yep.
And I like this is an out of suit fight scene, and I love that because it shows off just like, hey, we both have martial arts experience. Let's use that. Aww. And it's cool to watch. I love seeing the two of them fight.
Yeah.
And so Sakura is just basically like, once you two come along, we're going to go ahead and go get some supreme power. And so they do so. They end up going to South America. There's some bonding between the Gekirangers and the Bokengers, minus Akashi and Sakura. Then they're going in, go up to the temple that the thing is in. They insert the jewels, and then the idiot monster, Ryu and Melians, are going into this bright light. The thing that was possessing Sakura comes out of her, goes into the light as well, comes out as a fully powered being. As Lord Pachmak, along with Rio Melee and the idiot. I'm just going to keep calling him that. His name is Baka.
No, his name is Pachirisu.
Yeah. And I love just that entire scene of just them interacting, like the Bokengers and the Gekirangers outside, sitting around the fire, explaining exactly what had happened. Pachmak ends up coming out. There's that whole great scene after Pachmak decides to go in and just start destroying the city as Rio and Melee as avatars.
Yeah.
And along with the idiot hippo. And then, of course, you're getting our big split up fight scene where the girls are fighting Melee. I can't exactly remember. I think it was Black, Blue, Boken Blue. No, Boken Blue was actually the other one. And, they all end up fighting all of them. Yeah. And, once again, it's great fight scenes. There's, of course, before that, there's that entire transformation sequence where they're on top of that ruined building, which always looks cool. Which I just recently noticed that they used that again in Zoja versus Ninja.
Oh, really?
But I love things like that. And then they all going out to fight Pachmak after Geki Red and Bogan Red are done fighting him. He goes up to the moon after he grows giant. They all end up going to the moon. Rio and Melee end up coming behind them and get on top of Geki Toja.
The moon!
And they end up beating Lord Pachmak. This is just a really good team-up movie. I can't explain exactly why I like it so much. I think it's just because of the fact that these teams really get along. And there is a making of special, which TV New Home did sub. And it's weird seeing John's actor be so different. And he's also in Ultraman Geese, so we're going to see that as well, too, when we're reviewing that in a while.
So that's going to be really weird for you.
Yeah, it's just like, why aren't you saying random words?
You even still did it in Gokaiger.
Yeah. To a much lesser extent, but it happens.
He was a master by that point. He had to calm the fuck down.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and go back to the show here. Episode 36, or lesson 36.
Doesn't really fucking matter.
More or less. At the end of the battle, because here's the problem with the last arc of this show. And I think you'll agree with me. Everything that happens with the heroes is not interesting.
I will disagree with you in one matter, and I don't think we've gotten there yet.
We haven't. That's the one with Geki Violet?
No. I forgot about that one. I'm talking about the one with Geki Red.
Oh, yeah. Well, that one is actually about to come up now.
Yeah.
A lot of the other things that happen with the heroes, I'm just like, why? But this is like the transitional period between Long and the others coming in because Long has finally revealed himself to Rio. And he starts talking about Genjuken, which is like a mythical beast fist that he wants Rio to become the Genjuo of. And then he ends up...
so
Long,
no more real animals. It's time to get mystical up in this bitch.
Yep. Long is introducing his partner Sanyo, which is based on the basilisk. And Sanyo comes in carrying a coffin. And they're like, why is this dirty thing here? Why did you bring a dead person inside of the temple? And Long is just like, don't worry, that'll all become revealed soon.
Once the lightning hits it, there's a real problem with fire, but we'll get past it.
Yeah. Now, we end up seeing that later on, there's Long, Melee, Long, Melee, Sanyo, and the one in the coffin, and they have like underlings that are right directly under them.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is one of Sanyo's one, who is Carabarus. Yeah, that's
He's
the
a
name.
Care Bear?
Carabarus.
He's a Care Bear.
I'm not exactly sure exactly how they do this one, because I think I'm getting myself confused.
I still just heard Care Bear.
But it's Goyu. That's the name of the thing. It's also a weird thing with the marriage interview. This is what I'm talking about. A lot of the things that end up happening with the villains at the end of this show are just so much more interesting than what happens with most of the heroes.
Like Care Bears.
No, because this whole thing has to do with the
You're
marriage
never
interview.
going to hear anything else out of me. I hope you realize this.
There's this whole thing with Bran getting a marriage interview, which is a tired Sentai trope that I hate.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. But at the end of this one, Melee ends up saying, exactly how the Genju can fight. And she ends up transforming into the Phoenix, Genjuken Phoenix. That is her Genjuken form. I like it. It's weird with the lips. It's weird going from something that didn't really have lips beforehand. They were sort of
I will give you that. But I'm a sucker for phoenixes, so...
Like, this isn't my bias against lips, which we all know. But it's just like, it's weird going from something that didn't have lips to this.
But it still worked.
I mean, yeah, it still worked. I really like, all the gold and green.
Also, I love the picture that I'm looking at for her. It shows normal Melee, and she's got the pouty lips, so it's even funnier. The conversation we're talking about.
All of the lips. But
what does Ryu get? Well, I can never remember. It's like a...
We'll talk about him in a second.
Falcon or something.
Episode 38. Here's the thing I forgot to mention, which we're also going to talk about when we come to Occupant Ranger, which we will review much later on in the future. Episode 38 is a monster that can create clones of people. It's like a mirror monster.
Oh, yeah.
And Blue has a clone created of him, but this Blue, his clone is actually his twin brother.
Yeah, that's something that came from Dairanger, which I love to see.
That is actually true. That's funny.
When you're the one who pointed it out to me.
Oh yeah.
When an actor has a twin brother, like an identical twin, they somehow just write in a evil twin episode for that.
And it happened in whichever Yellow's brother, because his brother was one of the people from one of the Metal Hero shows that.
Then they did it with his show too.
Yeah,
which is really funny.
So they did it with Blue's show here and brought his twin brother in. It's great when you end up having things like that, though, and because twins are just something we don't see a lot of.
Yeah.
But when it looks completely identical, it's hilarious to me. Now, episode 39, this episode introduces Dan, who was like the big brother of Rio, and he's also important to John as well. And he is the one who was transformed to the person in the coffin, Sugu, who was like a Chimera Beast Fist user. And I love how... like, Rio's looking at him and was like, this seems really familiar, and then he starts fighting him, and he realizes that fighting style is Dan, who he fought in the past and accidentally killed. That wasn't his fault. I'll give him that. Rio never killed anybody on purpose. Well,
attempted to kill lots of people.
Yeah, he attempted to kill a lot of people, but that's not how it worked. We end up finding out that Dan is John's father.
Dun, dun, dun.
And his father is the best father in the history of fathers because his father's Kenji Oba.
Yeah.
And if you can't tell by going to look at our title thing on our actual YouTube page, Kenji Oba's everything. So he's the greatest. If you have problems with that, fight me.
I'm going to tell you about something I was watching on YouTube the other day that when it was completely random, I went, oh, that's Kenji Oba. I got to tell you about that later.
And I love because this arc for John is just basically him realizing what the problems are of all of this. He's like, he got overwhelmed really badly with just like that's the revelation that's his father. Rio is pushing the fact that the animosity that he had towards Don is being pushed onto him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like all of this, predetermined fate being pushed on him. He doesn't like any of it.
Fate is bullshit.
Yeah. And Rio decides to go ahead and become the Genjuo, and his Genjuo form is the Griffin.
Griffin. That makes so much more sense.
And I love the Griffin form. It still has the black face, but the rest of it is gold, and there's the feathers coming off of it.
I honestly like his other form better.
I mean, I do
They're
too.
just so much more. I think there's too much going on with the Griffin form.
But it looks cool.
It does. It definitely is. You know, like what? Ryo-san is evolving to Griffin. Come on, you know I'm right.
From a lion to a Griffin. And it just looks cool.
Okay, fair. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, it does. When you think about it.
Just adding an eagle.
We're all different people.
And that's okay. That's good.
You gotta keep going.
So long as you remember
all the people
that you
were.
used to be. And this is now a Tokucast instead. Sorry for the Doctor Who moment. Moving on.
But there's a lot of backstory in the next couple episodes because we end up realizing that John did actually have a mother. But this mother had to basically push him off a cliff to save his life. She had no choice.
Still didn't put a brand of a tiger into his arm.
No, but he has claw marks on his chest.
Go! There we go. Moving on. Or in this case, John! Jason! Sean!
Maybe they'll have another one of those in Detroit Become Human. It is the same people making that.
Oh, fantastic.
Robot! Robot!
We need to do video game podcast or something.
Robot! But yeah, I love all of John's origin story. It's great. It's a great one. Just seeing...
Yeah.
Because we didn't really know a lot about him, but like we knew Retsu and Go's parents were dead. We know that actually Ran's parents are alive. And Ran and, just Ran. And we know Ken's father is still around, along with his sister. We don't really know anything about his mother. But I like, John's getting his confidence back. And they end up beating Sugu after John is getting through to his father's Geki spirit, which was the only thing that was used to make Sugu. And he actually ends up getting to speak to Kenji, which is like life goal. So don't judge me.
I'm so judging you.
Okay, we're not going to talk about 43.
We're going to talk about judging you.
Yeah.
And your AC.
Okay, now... In this first, because episode 44, this show only has 49 episodes, like the last 6 are just the end game.
Yeah.
And really, there's a lot of end game. Really, there's only about maybe 7 or 8 episodes.
Still not your favorite episode in the show, though. That's 47, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But it's like, there's about 7 or 8 filler episodes that you really only have to skip. Mm-hmm. But even then, not really. There's only like the Christmas episode, which you just don't watch. And
please
because it has nothing to do with the plot.
It has nothing to do with the plot. It's about a bratty, shitty white kid. Don't.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. And John ends up beating Don, and Go gets the help of Michelle Payne when she's like in some not really an internet cafe. She actually looks like she's like an airport, I guess waiting area or bar or something. She ate a fish, and then Go brought her a bigger fish. She's like, "Oh, what do you want? I'll do a lot for fish. Come on." I know exactly where you took that. But he was like, "You know this technique that sit down. You know this technique that Bruce Lee taught you." And she was like, "Well, I really only know how to do it on paper. I never really actually done technique." But he was like, "You're the master of like supreme technique. Maybe you can teach me how to do it." So she does.
And he punches a waterfall for 3 days.
Yeah, he really does, and then it goes up in a spiral.
He learned what is it called? The Shoryuken?
Yeah.
He learns the Shoryuken.
And Long has been behind this whole thing. One, he wants Ryo to become the Genjuo, to become like the god of destruction. That's his whole goal here. And he keeps seeing Geki Red as an issue, is like he's always in his way because he believes that Geki Red is his only real connection from becoming that god of destruction because he wants them to fight him so bad. So he ends up trying to shoot Geki Red. Suga ends up taking that hit, and that's how Suga ends up dying after he asked John to beat him and let his Geki soul go free.
Kenji was a great guy like that.
Yeah. And the name of Go's technique is called the Heaven and Earth Disaster Strike, which is a cool name for something. Episode 45 is that final fight between Ryo and John. It's a great one. There's a lot of out-suit fighting. There's a lot of in-suit fighting.
It's a great fight, period.
Yeah. And then...
Fuck, we might need to redo our top 10 fight scenes in Sentai.
Yeah, this is a great one. Then he ends up... after Rio is beaten, he basically is being taken over by the Griffin that Long basically gave him.
Yeah.
Turns into the god of destruction until Melee ends up calling out to him, just like, you have to come back. We can't do this.
No, because then while Long is laughing maniacally, Melee comes up behind him and pushes him off screen.
Which is the best. You're a liar if you think you're wrong.
Like, if Marcus had a gif of this moment, it will be on the screen right now.
I might make one. Just based on and
Marcus's favorite moment of this entire goddamn series.
The
right
greatest thing. But I love, because, Melee has obviously had feelings for Rio the entire time. And apparently those feelings...
I don't know what you're talking about.
Those feelings end up being reciprocated.
Nope.
And I love the fight that he has with Go beforehand. Because Go ends up... that first Genju beast that Sanyo ended up saving at the very beginning... he ends up trying to come out and protect Rio. Go uses that technique on that monster and beats him in like 3 seconds. And then he ends up trying to use it on Rio, but Rio was like, you showed me the technique before you used it on me, so I blocked it. Have fun with that. And then there's that fight between John and Rio. Rio loses and they get taken over by the Griffin Beast. Melee ends up calling out to him, and that's the only thing that ends up bringing him back. So, in the next episode, we end up finding out that Long killed Rio's entire family, killed John's mother, and the reason that he did this, he was bored. He wanted to just end everything. He was like, I've lived for a very long time. I'm like immortal and stuff. And I'm tired of that. Let's just go ahead and start destroying stuff. Maybe that'll make me feel something in life. And I'm sitting here like, that's a sad existence, but you're still a dick. So... But I love how Rio ends up breaking down here. Melee ends up getting captured. The Geki Jyuken users end up going out and actually try to get her back. John and Rio end up having, this whole heart-to-heart moment like a snowy mountain. They go in and save everyone. They save Retsu and Ron after they got captured. And they say Melee after Long and kidnapping her. They think they destroyed Long. They didn't. Like I said, he's immortal.
And stuff.
Yeah. But I love over the next couple episodes, we end up getting to see like a reconciliation between Rio and Melee with most of the Gekirangers. Go, the reason that he wanted to fight Rio so badly is because, one, they used to be really good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then he beat Go before anything else. But then we end up finding out that, he accidentally killed Dom. Because Long fought him first, injured him, and then once Rio fought him after, succeeding to the Rin Juden powers, that he accidentally killed him. It was just going to be a fight, that was going to be it, but because of the previous injury that Dom got from Long, he died. But I love how they end up reconciling with each other. It's really, really good. I love that whole team fight between John and Rio against Long, and then the others fighting Sanyo, who, thanks to Melee, the only reason they won was because of Melee.
Mm-hmm.
She sealed his key, leading him to just not be able to do anything. But he's a part of Long, and Long put all of his immortality into Sanyo. So Rio and John end up destroying Long, but he ends up being brought back because of Sanyo and his invulnerability. I love how in the next episode, once they all end up going to scratch, and Meek is like, it's so good to actually see you here because they all train together. Ron and Retsu are just like, how can we just forgive them? You know what I'm saying? Here, that's a much more understandable response here because they cause a lot of suffering for people. So they end up having a Kendon, which is something. They end up fighting each other, and Ron and Retsu were going to beat them when they put their arms down and saw that they weren't going to fight back. And then Sanyo comes out of nowhere, starts blowing stuff up, and Long comes from behind him. And I love just how creepy Long looks. He's like, I'm tired of you, I'm tired of them, I hate everything, y'all all gonna die, I'm just gonna become the god of destruction. And then the last...
If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself.
And then the last 2 episodes end up happening. it's been years since I watched Gekiranger, and I forgot how Melee dies. She gets basically chopped in half by Long. He like scoops her up after he turns into his big dragon form, and like just bites her. And you hear the crunch.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like, oh no.
By the way, it was episode 45 that a push happens.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's great. But yeah, it's such a good. And then Melee ends up dying. Rio ends up sacrificing himself to show that this guy's immortal.
Also, for anybody who watched Gekiranger on Kiss Asian, the subs on Kiss Asian say his name is Leo instead of Rio.
Yeah.
I just realized that. Sorry for any confusion. When we watched it, it was Rio. Japan with L's and R's, it's really weird.
Yeah. And then Rio ends up sacrificing himself. He basically just blows himself up after giving like
he jumps into Long and self-destructs.
He gives like some of the Rinki from I guess the Masters to the three main Gekirangers.
And then destroys Long's like giant form.
More or less. It ends up turning into his smaller form. And I love because basically they're like in this three-man Gekiranger in this mind space, and Go and Ken try to go and fight Long after he starts destroying the city. Of course, they just get sideswiped along with the Masters. But the three main Gekirangers end up learning from...
Don't the Masters like break their vow of peace? Or
no, they basically just use that ribbon thing they try to use against Monku.
Oh, yeah.
Both times they try to use it, they just get destroyed, by the way. But I love how, as you said, this is the thing of balance. So basically, once they end up going to that fake Renjuden temple and Rio Melee guide them inside, they end up learning from the three Demon Fist Masters, like, this ability to, like, seal someone. As I said, Long can't be destroyed, but he can be sealed forever. So that's what they do. And this fight scene...
And the fight scene where they start using the... Because Red uses Maku's style.
Yeah.
Yellow
Ron uses katas.
And...
Retsu uses Ragakus.
And just the realization everybody has that they now have learned from almost... Other than, like, Long... These three have learned from every master out there.
Yeah.
Both good and bad.
Yeah.
The balance is achieved, and that is how they can seal Long into a Bakugan.
And this fight is so cool. It's
so
fast, it's well choreographed.
It's fast, but also slow.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, slow motion, like, because they want to show off the moves that are from the different styles.
Not a lot of, like, backflips and everything. There's nothing like a whole bunch of...
Power Rangers.
Yeah, especially during this fight. But there's not a lot like, just, wire work and things like that. It's just, just showing the moves off. And it's so cool.
And they seal Long into a Bakugan.
I love the look on his face when he realizes what's happening.
Oh yeah, he knows he's fucked.
The pure horror.
He knows.
And then they use him as a pool ball.
Oh yeah, they do use him as a billiards ball. And they're like, we should probably do something better.
And John's like, I'll take it. I'm just going to go ahead and go wandering.
So he makes it a necklace, and he goes around and wanders for...
He goes and speaks to Ranratsu first, then he leaves, and then he goes and speaks to Ken and Master Elahung. And, because, he works there.
And then he becomes the master.
And then he goes to speak to Go, who has Bai with him. The reason that Bai can actually stand out of... Melee now is because once Melee got rid of her Genjuken, which both she and Rio did after they found out what Long
really is.
He basically had like an overflow of Geki, and they let him just live outside of her indefinitely. Now.
He's still a fly, though.
Can't change back from that. But he ends up, John ends up going to Hong Kong, and he ends up meeting this little kid who has like the same, I guess, Geki or Renju, whichever, as Rio did, and he ends up starting to train him. And that's how we end Gekiranger. And then we end up getting a preview for a terrible show. But that is the end of Gekiranger. One of the great shows of
Definitely
Sentai.
Underrated. People kind of write it off.
Yeah.
But we are incredibly biased because we love Kung Fu. We love Kung Fu movies like Donnie Yen, Bruce Lee. All the Ip Man movies are great. Even the third one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and talk about these characters. John.
Took a fucking chill pill, thank God.
Yeah. After he calmed down, he got a lot better. And,
But I understand, back to balance, he was kind of the balance between the other two, because the other two were kind of serious all the time.
they had to make a triangle. and he was that centerpiece for the triangle. He's a piece at the top. And
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
I was imagining in the center of the triangle.
Yeah, it doesn't work with that. But he definitely did get better. He definitely calmed down. Him coming back in Gokaiger definitely helped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was great.
Actually, him and the Go On to team up, he was like legit at that point.
Oh,
He taught Go On Red, but he's so calm in that movie.
that's what's next.
Yeah, like I said, a terrible show. But John got better. He definitely really got better. Let's talk about Ron, who is the captain of the Gekirangers. Here's the problem with Ren and Retsu. They don't get a lot. Neither does Ken, actually. But, I mean, she's fine. All about heart and doing it with heart. And she has parents and...
Cheetah.
She's Cheetah. I love that fight between her and the Centipede guy at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Where he thought that he beat her. But she didn't actually lose. She was just imagining because they were fighting like against a wall.
Yeah.
They had to punch that wall a whole bunch. And whoever got the most hits won. But she wasn't just hitting to hit. She was hitting in the shape of his body. And I like Ron. She was fine, but she just doesn't get a lot to do. And that's no fault of hers. It's definitely something of the writing and the fact that they focus a lot.
I mean, you gotta focus on the Cheetah girl.
Shut up. But I do like her. And I like her just as a general character. Let's talk about Retsu. Same problem. He doesn't get a lot to do. He's a painter. He can play music with his feet, apparently, thanks to the Go On special. The Go On team up. Once again, I wish he was better. He hasn't been getting a lot in terms when it comes to his brother.
Mm.
Because, he has to show his brother that I'm not a baby anymore. I'm not the same kid that you thought I was. I'm now a practiced Geki fighter. And these are the things that I can do. I'm fantastic technique for a fucking reason. So, and, Retsu gets a lot, but it only ends up coming more into play once his brother comes in.
Yeah.
Speaking of his brother, let's go ahead and talk about Go. Go has some issues, and a lot of that stems from Rio. When he wasn't the one that Rio wanted to fight, God, he was angry. That's why he ended up coming up with that technique from Michelle, but he is getting beaten after he showed it to Rio beforehand. But I like his character. He's a little bit overprotective of his brother.
But brothers do that.
Yeah, and he's the older one. And I just like him. I like him quite a bit. Go's pretty fun, especially as our first purple. And he definitely does end up standing out among the rest of his cast. You don't expect to get a lot from him, especially because he came in as late as he did. But because of his connection to Rio, that really ended up helping his character and just how to flesh that out.
This is going to be such an interesting comparison.
It is. Let's talk about Ken. He's funny. That's
about it.
He comes in. It's not even really he comes in too late because he comes in with more than enough time to have a lot to do. But you do get a lot about his character.
Yeah.
I mean, he's sort of lazy, but he always ends up standing up for what he believes is right. And I like that about his character. It's just the fact that he's the funny guy, which, as I said, isn't always a bad thing. It's just the fact that since he's just that funny guy, it doesn't always translate correctly. But that was sort of needed for that team. Because John can only do so much without coming off as annoying.
Which he did a lot.
Something that we haven't done in a while. Let's talk about Rio. I love his thirst for power was always there.
You could tell. I'm just glad it wasn't one of those villains that wants to, pink in the brain, take over the world.
Yeah.
He just wanted power. He wanted to be the strongest. He wanted to be the best.
And he would beat anybody in his way. And, he went out of his way he was actually active. He was always out doing something.
Yes.
Or, sending men to do something first, and then they'll go out together and go do something.
The first moment he actually got off his ass and came out
and beat the shit out of the
guy. But even before then, he just walked. My thought was, oh shit, he's gonna do something. Oh shit, he's gonna do something. This is the villain. They're fucked.
And they were. Until they got cocky, they couldn't
fear, people, when you're not trying to take over the world, some people think the stakes aren't high enough.
Yeah.
The stakes are pretty goddamn high if you see him and you go, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
And especially when we end up getting to learn his backstory and how he was constantly manipulated, both him and John. Mm-hmm. It's just their manipulation by Long, and just seeing how he orchestrated this whole thing and him coming back from that and going along to scratch with the others. Is just a great moment, one for character growth and just a movement of the story.
Yeah.
And I loved everything about Long as a character. A lot of people complain that the show focuses a lot on the villains, but that's such a difference from most
Sentais.
Yeah, and these villains are interesting. They make their story very, very interesting. And a lot of that just ends up centering on Rio. let's go ahead and talk about Melee. You have problems with her. I thought she was fine.
I had problems with her early on. That got better as the plot got thicker.
Yeah. As soon as she really started to interact with Long and like go out and really start fighting with the Gekirangers and things like that, she became that much more of an interesting character. I liked Melee. She was fun. She's coming back this year.
Oh, really?
She's coming back in the next Space Squad movie.
Oh.
Yeah. Her, Bosco, Escape. And
I'm always up for Escape coming back.
the guy from Shinkenger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
I can't wait to see her again. I love her. She was also in W. She was like some archaeologist chick.
I don't remember.
We'll see her once she's getting into W in like
A month.
3 months. But yeah, I like.
We're at decades, so really 3 months.
No, we're at Kiva.
Oh, right. We're at Kiva. So, like 2 months maybe?
3 months. We got a lot of other stuff to do between now and then. Actually, no, it's like 4, because before we get to W, we're doing showdown. But yeah, Melee. I liked her quite a bit. I loved her devotion, and that was her driving force. And that never broke. She always thought she was doing the right thing for Rio. And even when it wasn't, she tried to go out of her way to make it seem right. Or just try to make it right at the end of the day. Her biggest thing was that moment where she ended up almost killing Ken's sister. And that really broke her. I just really liked her and, just the depths of things that she would go.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about Long. We already know he's a bastard. He's a great character, but he's a bastard.
He's a decent villain.
Yeah, he was a great villain. He was one of those few that didn't die at the end.
True, but I'm talking about in terms of, we just talked about how it wasn't just a villain of, I want to take over the world, or I want to destroy the world. That's exactly what he was.
He was.
But what made him what made him different was
the manipulation thing.
And the motivation of, I'm bored.
Yeah. The boredom was the thing that drove him.
But
Gekiranger is a great show.
If you like good fight scenes.
If you like Die Ranger.
Yes.
If you like Mask Man.
Good for you. I would definitely recommend Gekiranger.
Gekiranger is such a good show.
If you like Jungle Fury, the Power Rangers, honestly, they're similar enough that I would say you would like.
Sort of. We're going to talk about this more in comparison.
I'm just saying, in terms of concept, they are similar enough that you would like Gekiranger.
I will say, nope, we're going to save it all for the comparison.
Yep. That's all I'm saying is that they are similar enough that you might want to give it a try. That's all I'm saying.
It's just a really, really good show.
We will talk about the differences in comparison next week.
Yeah.
So, until then, as always, like, subscribe, follow us on Patreon if you can, follow us on Facebook, Twitter. I'm thinking about starting a Tokucast Instagram account. Let me know if you would be interested in that.
You can do that.
Absolutely. So, as always, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining. Bye, everybody.
Bye.